Welcome to our headstand practice. Just a little bit of safety before we attempt this practice. This is a posture in which you could potentially have a fall. Not that you will, or not that you will, but just the inherent danger of falling out of a headstand exists. So I'm just having to say this so I don't be responsible for anyone having an owie or a tumble because of me. So I'm going to say only attempt this posture if you are in good spirits and good health and in a safe place. Don't no neck injuries, anything like that. Because this can be very intense and very difficult. Also, I always recommend practicing close to a wall so that in the event of a fall, we fall or place our feet back down to the floor. I'm not going to say fall. A wall next to you will prevent a fall in the event of such a thing happening. But if you have been working on this for a little while and you're just curious and just want to try it, go right into it, this is just a quick headstand tutorial. So let's get right to it. So let's come into downward facing dog. Let's come right into it and warm up the shoulders a little bit. So let's first breathe deep into our downward facing dog and press back through the heels. Maybe pedal at the feet a little bit. So make sure our hands are in good position with the thumb and forefinger facing forward. And we'll just start to, shift around, maybe move the hips a little bit, however you feel good in your downward dog to get a little bit of movement happening. All right, let's take the first bit of shoulder warm up. So let's go ahead and lower our left forearm down to the mat. So slowly and carefully. So we're coming into half downward dog, half dolphin. And let's come on up back to the regular downward facing dog, and then we'll do that on the other side. Let's go to the right. We'll start to lower slowly to the hand, to the forearm, to the elbow, and holding this on the second side. Beautiful. Let's take a look forward and then press and extend the arms back into your full downward facing dog. And let's look down and behind. Maybe take a look between your feet. Make sure your feet are still there. They're going to be the thing that we end up lifting off the ground in our goal pose of headstand. So look at that. 2 feet, 2 hands. Wonderful. Let's go now into that same posture, but we're going to do both hands this time, coming into full dolphin. So go ahead and lower to the right elbow, to the left elbow, so that we're on both forearms, and look forward if you can. So kind of warming up the head and neck a little bit by looking forward. It's difficult. If you feel any pain, please come out of this and we'll move in a different way. I'm holding dolphin, looking forward, and beautiful. Let's go ahead and lower the knees and come on down into a child's pose. Stretch the body out long. And let's go on up and come to our kneeling, just a comfortable seat, so we can practice the prep for the actual hand placement of headstand. So check this out. It's a little handy dandy silly way to remember about where we want to put the weight in our headstand. We don't ideally want to have a lot of weight on the head at all, honestly. So most of the weight should be to the forearms and to the elbows, not to the head itself, because, neck. So let's go ahead and place our heel of your hand close to your temples, and then roll the pointer finger onto the very top of the head. So it's tippy top of the head, not the forehead, not the back of the head. We don't want any type of anything besides that, about perfectly tippy top crown of the head on the ground if we do this. So let's go ahead and take the hands around behind the head, find that middle, and we're going to cradle the hands behind the head and just make interlace your fingers behind the head and make a little cradle. So let's practice just placing this whole apparatus down and placing that onto the ground, just with our knees on the ground safely and comfortably. So let's see if we can, first of all, make that happen, make contact with the elbows and the head, and keeping the knees and feet to the ground. And if that feels good, you know what? Let's go for it. All right, so let's go ahead and lower. And let's take the elbows to the ground, keep that nice cradle behind the head, and let's practice the prep. So let's come on up. So weight goes to the elbows. So try to keep most of the weight to the elbows, to the forearms, off of the head. Okay. And let's go ahead and straighten into the legs. See how that works out. Cool. All right. So we stretch in our downward dog a little bit. I'm going into straight-legged headstand prep here. And let's begin by just being kind of bold. Let's lift one leg up off the ground and see if that feels okay. If that feels okay, cool. Let's hold it for a breath. Making sure we're actively pushing down through the forearms, and even the sides of the hands a little bit here can be cradling actively, holding the head. So we're not placing, again, I'm going to say this probably several more times before we're through, because it's just a safety issue, and don't want anyone to do like get an owie neck because of this, because it can happen. It's not like I'm not trying to scare you, just being realistic. Okay, so let's switch to the other leg, and I'll stop talking so we can concentrate. So let's lift whichever leg you didn't just lift high in the sky and hold. Okay, you can continue with this, switching leg to leg, if that's where you feel comfortable. If you feel like, you know what, you feel stable, I feel great, I've got my balance, I'm strong today. If you feel like you've got this, and only if you feel all of those things, if you feel stable, comfortable, or if you have a wall to support you, let's go ahead and walk the feet on in and see if we can lift one and the other, move slowly. If you find yourself in your headstand, give yourself a little pat on the back after you come down and up. But for Dallas, hold it. See if we can hold it for another few breaths. Check in with yourself. How does this make you feel? Does this make you feel strong? Does it make you feel scared? What are you feeling here? And the headstand, there's a million things you can do to feel. I love these inverted postures because you never know how they're going to affect you on a certain day. I like to use them to like have like an energy boost or to cheer up, but sometimes these can also be very retrospective and looking inward kind of poses. But just make a note of how it makes it feel for you. That's different for everyone. When you're ready, this has been a couple breaths here. Let's go ahead and lower down the slow and careful way that we came in. So let's take one foot to the ground and take the other foot to the ground. Let's come on back into that long extended child pose. Stretch the spine long and pat yourself on the back. You can actually do that here. So take it out with the elbows and the arms long. You can bend into the elbows and pat yourself right up on the top of the shoulders and give yourself some love. That was difficult. That was brave. And whatever we got to today, if you got to the full posture, if you got to the prep, it was brave and amazing of you to attempt. The more we practice, which is like with anything, the easier it becomes, right? So we can come back to this practice anytime you like, anytime you want to work on a little simple inversion. Can maybe turn our frown upside down, literally. Thank you so much for practicing.